Let's start. Yep, let's start.
My computer says recording in progress every time now. It's a weird thing.
We're starting.
All right, we're here and we're laughing a little, which is good because Schneps Media, PoliticsNY. I'm Sky, and that's Steve with a tie.
Hi.
We made up this little rhyme because we like to keep it light, easy, and fun, especially because this is the third debate of our night. It's the 8 o'clock show. So Steve and I are all loosened up from the 5 o'clock and 6:30 show, so we can have fun with the candidates here. These are the candidates for District 48. Oh, I see Hashi Tischler. He must be in the attendee list. I will promote him to panelist. There we go.
You made the ballot, right? Yeah.
Yep, perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
So we've invited every single candidate who's on the ballot to be part of this debate. Let's just put it all out there. A lot of media outlets discriminate. They discriminate against who has the most funding or who blah, blah, blah. We don't. We invited everyone. So that's us. We're the only media outlet doing that. So thank you, especially to our partners at Brooklyn Public Library who are working with us to promote voter education and engagement for the 2021 local elections. And as I mentioned, Schneps Media is the only media outlet providing a platform for every single New York City Council candidate to have their voices heard, faces seen, and personalities on display. So right now, this is the showdown for District 48 in the City Council. It was a seat held by Chaim Deutsch, who was recently expelled from the New York City Council. So the seat is an open seat, and it includes Brighton Beach, Manhattan Beach, Sheepshead Bay, Homecrest, Trump Village, Luna Park, Brightwater Towers, and Midwood. So today's debate can be fun. Depends on the crowd here. We'll see how the candidates are. Maybe we'll have a little bit of fun. But Steve and I like to make it fun. We like to make it fast and fun. We like to make it a little conversational. So we'll see how it goes. And this fast and fun forum is being recorded. You can watch it on PoliticsNY.com. You can see all of our debates, news, scheduled debates, recorded debates there on PoliticsNY.com/debates. So without further ado, let's get to know the candidates a little bit. We'll ask everyone to introduce themselves. And I'm Jewish and Steve's Jewish. I think we have a Jewish.
Let's not announce it, Scott.
So I would say, no, should we have everyone make a Jewish joke, or is that too?
No, and introduce yourselves while you're running, let's get through the.
We won't do the Jewish jokes yet.
All right.
Okay, so let's have everyone introduce themselves and tell us what makes you better than the other people on the screen. And let's begin with Amber Adler.
And I am, real quick, I'm timing 90 seconds, and afterwards Sky will give you some kind of sign.
All right, Steve's being very serious now, but okay, we'll take it.
All right.
Very nice. Can I go?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Well, my name is Amber Adler. I'm a candidate for New York City Council District 48. As an Orthodox Jewish single mother of 2 young boys, I know how important it is to have a community that has the resources you need when you need them. That's why I'm prioritizing equitable pandemic recovery and also a more robust system of childcare and education, while also continuing to build upon a quality of life for the residents in this district, supporting seniors, and keeping my foundation of everything I do rooted in unity, which we need now more than ever. And I underline more than ever. I've been helping communities grow for the last 20 years, locally about 10 years. And, I'm proud that I'm a candidate that understands from experience, and that I understand what we have, what we need, how to bridge the gap. And, a vote for me is a vote for a very safe, secure future full of measurable results. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I hope I stayed in my time limit, but I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Let's go to Mariya Markh next.
Hi, everybody. First and foremost, thank you, Sky and Steve, PoliticsNY, and Brooklyn Public Library, and of course, my fellow candidates. I know that this is a very interesting seat, as a lot of the seats are in this area. And that's because we've got an open seat. And so I kind of want to talk to you about me. My name is Mariya Markh. I have been living in this area since the 3rd grade in this district. Originally, I came from Belarus, which is a former Soviet Union country, and we came here in the 90s. I've worked in this community for 15 years, and that includes more than a decade of working for the city. When I started working for the city council, at that point, it was Councilmember Lou Fiddler. He taught me every part of the job, from the legislation, the budget. I worked on special projects, and of course, constituent services. I've helped thousands of people over the years, including hundreds of families, to stay in their homes by keeping them off lien sale. My nickname in the city council is the Queen of Lien. Next year, we're going to be having a completely different city government. We're going to have a new mayor, a new controller, new borough presidents, and 2/3 of the city council is going to be brand new. And now we're also at the tail end of a pandemic. So it's very, very important that the next council member is going to have the experience to make sure that our district is going to be able to come back. I've worked here during the Sandy recovery. I've got experience building a community back after that. We do need a leader that's ready on day one. It's the reason why I've been endorsed by nearly every single elected official in the area, multiple unions, advocacy groups, and so many community leaders.
Thank you. I know I didn't say about the time. I know Steve said 90 seconds. I hate cutting people off, so my apologies in advance, but I will go like this when it's your time. So thank you so much. Let's go to Binyomin next.
Hey, good evening, Sky. Thank you for having us. I'm Binyomin Bendet. I'm running for city council in this district. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a father of 2 young children. I'm also a litigating attorney. My wife's a nurse. And the reason why I'm running for city council is to ensure that this city is livable for us and for our children. And to do so, we must put a few things on the agenda. 1, safety. We must fully fund our police and make sure that they have the resources allocated in order to do their jobs correctly and to keep us safe, and to keep not only just us safe, but also our businesses by extension. Second thing is education. We must ensure that our children have full access to programs that allow them to achieve their full potential. Third is working on lowering taxes, especially for small businesses post-COVID. It's very important to ensure that our businesses can still thrive, that our businesses can still work with their landlords who still have a lot of unpaid rent, unfortunately, because the moratorium only meant that they didn't have to pay rent, didn't mean that the rent was waived. So we have to work between the landlords and small businesses to ensure the small businesses can still thrive and still hire people at the same time. And one more thing, we also definitely not least, we have to work with our aging communities. We have to ensure that we have a senior liaison on staff, first of all, to just make sure that the senior citizens are taken care of in our district, especially. 1, helping them apply for SNAP, helping them with emotional help, especially after the devastation of COVID, and many of them have lost many friends, and there's just being alone. We need help in that, and well, thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing your questions.
Thank you. Believe me, we'll get into all the issues, whatever you want to talk about. Our first question after we do the introduction is going to be, what issue do you want to talk about? So everyone will have time. Let's hear from Tischler, who sent me a bunch of emails. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sky and Steve. But I want to start this by, I don't know, Steve Saperstein, are you on this link over here?
I'm here. Yeah,
Are you
here I
about to
am.
start a fight?
I'm not going to start a fight. I want to tell all of you that Steve is a gentleman and I love him. And I've spoken to all the other candidates, but Steve and me and I tried to do with all the other candidates to run an honorable campaign. That's the way I believe everybody should have a right to run their campaign, to run for any elected office. And me and Steven said we were going to run a campaign of we're not going to talk bad about one another. We're going to do an honorable campaign. We're going to try to pitch ourselves. And Mr. Steve Saperstein calls me up and says, Heshi, I'm not going to go on this debate unless you're on there. And here is a man that if I had to vote for somebody, and I'm telling everybody he should be number 2, this is a gentleman. And Steve, I'm not going to embarrass you, but I love you and I can't wait to work with you. And of course, when I win the election, you're going to be the one I could choose of. But Steve, thank you. And you're a good man. I learned a lot from you, and I thank you so much, Steve. That's all.
What an introduction. Do I even have to give my introduction right now? I mean, that was great. That was
Steve, it better be good. But I'm going to tell Sky and Steve about me. Let me tell you who I am. I'm a guy for the last 35 years served the community. I'm not the guy who's running on day one. I've already been up and running. I had 21 foster kids. I work with special needs children. I'm not the guy walking around like the rest of my competitors, not you, Steve, but the rest of them, making believe now that they're going to be food programs or helping with volunteering. I run a food program for the last 8 years, feeding 141 families. I feed thousands of people. I'm not part of the city government or the de Blasio administration. I'm the one who fights the administration. I fight 14 agencies every single day. I help senior citizens with their housing. I'm an HPD receiver. I fight the city and I work for the city. I keep people in their homes. I keep landlords making their buildings in compliance. I've taken 21 children in. I go to jails every 2 weeks and I visit, I bring felons home to me. I know I've run out of time because of you, Steve, but I want you to know one thing. I serve my community. I work in the hospital every morning. I put in 18-hour days and I don't need to be up and running on day one. I'm up and running. Me and my beautiful wife, Linda, of 31 years, father, grandfather, foster father, and 106 nephews and nieces. And I'm going to go to 2 weddings tonight, Sky. If you want, you can come for a free meal. Not you, Steve. Not the... I'm joking, Steve. I'm joking. Mariya, you can't come, Mariya. I'm joking. You can come.
Well, that was unique. That was the first ever. Steve and I have been moderating these debates now. This is Council District 48. We've been moderating 48 debates, and that's the first time that a candidate introduced someone else before introducing himself.
He's a good man. He's a good man. I'm never going to lie about a good man. And I want you to know, Sky, when you're honorable, and that's what there's one thing I'm going to tell you about me before I finish. I don't lie. But I'm going to be honest. People think I'm a little crazy because I scream and holler. I scream and holler to fight for the people. I've spoken to my other competitors and I told them to run an honorable campaign. And when you don't, I'm getting angry. I'm sorry, Sky. I got the tea. I'm out.
Thank you. Okay, Steven Saperstein.
So I was right. This was going to be the pay-per-view main event of the evening. So hi, everybody. I'm Steve Saperstein. Thank you for that awesome introduction. When I talk about myself, I like to talk about family, right? I'm born and raised in this district. I went to schools here. I grew up with deaf parents and a deaf brother. Many of you may not know this, but English was actually my second language. Sign language is my first language. So I really understand the power of communication, having a voice. Right now, our district doesn't have a voice. So we have to ask, what is the role of a councilman, right? So the role of a council member is, how do we make the day-to-day lives better of the people in our district? Now, when I'm speaking to the people every single day, the number one issue is public safety, safe and clean streets. People have to be safe. People have to feel safe. And I'm proud to be endorsed by the PBA and all the law enforcement unions. I'm also endorsed by the sanitation union. Public safety is a proven driver of economic success. If people want to open up businesses, people aren't going to do that. Right now, we have an exodus from New York City. People are fleeing. I have 2 young daughters. I'm a proud girl dad. We want a better and safer Brooklyn for them, for our parents and our grandparents. Right now, I'm a teacher, a special education teacher for nearly a decade. That impact with the same population, deaf and hard of hearing, special needs population. I love my job. Every single day, I'm making the difference. What's my vision for the 48th? I don't want to get that tea, so I'm going to make it. I'll make it quick. We have to work with the next mayor. It's huge, right? So I'm going to be 1 of 51 out of the 35 open seats. 5 to 6 are likely going to Democratic Socialists. So we have to form together with other common sense, sane, normal Democrats to fight against the craziness that's happening in our city. So we have to work with the next mayor, and I hope that we need to move on from this de Blasio administration. So I hope that the next mayor is the complete opposite of a de Blasio. And constituent services, we have to fight for funding, delivering those resources. Constituent services is another huge issue that we'll definitely talk about, but that's my opening, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Steve. It's great to see you again. And Sky, thanks for moderating this pay-per-view main event bash.
Now, listen, we can make this as fun as you guys want, so it could be interactive and fun. So we bring the fun, you bring the fun. So let's talk about some of the issues or whatever you want to talk about that you think is the most important and why you would be the #1 person that's suited for District 48 to fix that issue. And let's go maybe in the same order. Amber, what's most important to you and what makes you the most qualified or the best person to carry the torch for District 48?
Okay. Yeah, great question. I have a few things that I would put as sort of, top priorities, but I am going to speak to safety right now and combating this brand new territory we sort of find ourselves in. Recently, a few days ago, I actually saved myself and my family from an attack at a local park where someone was preparing to throw a brick on us from the top of a 30-foot fence. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and it's obviously unacceptable, but myself, this is territory I know and understand. Prior to running for city council, I was focused on fighting hate, bigotry, and particularly anti-Semitism, which we find ourselves drowning in right now. And this is something that I've learned. I've worked with the not just raising funds. I actually raised hundreds of thousands of dollars very quickly to provide education for public school students on this topic. But also, I worked in conjunction with the mayor's office for the prevention of hate crimes, one of 15 people in the entire city to work with this. So I understand the background of this, the research, how to unite people and how to get people to work together based upon real research. And that's something I've been doing to an extent, but I'm ready to increase that as the next council member. I'm ready to secure not only, catching people who are doing these types of things, but also preventing it. And as I said, I want to keep within the time, but this is something I've been doing. This is something I'm prepared to do on day one. I know the people to bring in, and this is a top concern here.
I know part of me almost wants to pivot and talk about that, considering
It was
everything
horrific. Honestly, it's still sinking in sort of over the past few days, because when I still can't believe that I literally, just because I cared about a child that was climbing up this large fence, I cared. I didn't want him to get hurt. I was thinking, how can I get him to get down? And how can I speak to him nicely so he will? And then all of a sudden I realized he's carrying a brick to throw on my family and I, and another boy and his parent. It was, it's really something you typically, you never think would happen to you or almost happen to you.
Maybe let's open it up a little bit and talk about what's going on, because it is extremely topical seeing what's happening. Israel, the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I mean, I know it's an ongoing conflict, but it's been.
Well, how does it relate to the city council? And how would you represent non-Jews and Heshi and everybody else? Do you defend the right of the press? I mean,
so since you asked me that question, you said Heshi.
Yes, I am asking because he's my friend. That was not cool.
Which friend? Your Kornbluth? Let me tell you something.
What happened?
Let me tell you the truth. If you want to hear lies,
that one.
Steve, if you want to hear lies, you can hear lies. It was
I
all
saw the video.
videotaped.
Look,
And you're lying.
I live near Borough Park.
You asked me a question. You have to let me reply. See, I do this every day.
Anyone else to reply on what they think of freedom of the press.
I heard your question, Steve. Steve, I heard your question. And if you want to be very controversial, that's fine. Again, I don't lie. My name is not Amber Adler, who made up a story that somebody threw a brick on there with no reports. I'm the one who saved the young girl.
That's funny because I did not make one thing up, and I've spoken to the police station multiple times, and I've been invited to the next
why are you allowed to interrupt me?
I have been invited to the next community meeting to present what happened. I've spoken to Shomra.
Amber,
No,
who
do
came
not
over
say
to
that
you?
I ever lied. No.
Amber,
No.
Amber, when you came,
No.
Amber,
Please tell
why
the
is
truth.
he?
Stop.
It's
All right,
Do not call me a
I
liar.
started
The
the
guys are
argument
interrupting.
and I
You
didn't
don't want to hear a truthful, honorable man. So I'm going to tell you, Amber, who came over to you when people came and threatened your family and said they're going to demonstrate? I said I was going to defend you. Remember?
I apologize.
I know what you said, and then you showed
Wait a minute.
side.
Let me finish, Sky.
with
Tell
the
them. Let me finish.
protesters,
Time
and you
out.
were
Now I
seen by
have to mute. Now I have to mute. Listen, I wanted to open it up in the spirit of Israel and Judaism and blah, blah, blah. But maybe we should just bring it back to the
I
issue.
lost it. Yeah, the number one issue that you confront. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Mariya and Markh, please. If you want to talk about this or you want to talk about
And
another
my
issue.
Well,
apology.
Sky, I should get a chance to reply. I should get one chance to reply for 39
You
You have
seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay, you got it. Mr. Kornbluth, brother-in-law, made that protest. The cops called me in the middle of the night. I have text messages from Kornbluth in the middle of the night harassing me. The next day, all I did was scream at a neighbor who woke me up in the middle of the night. By the way, I'm the one who protects people every day. I opened our stores. I opened our parks. I patrol the streets at night. I go to the hospitals. What all these people are saying they're doing now, I'm doing for 30 years. I take care of children. I visit seniors. I go to the hospitals. So whatever my competitors
Okay,
now are
thank
deciding to wake
Thank
up.
you.
I'm
That was
putting
it.
you on mute. I'm putting you on mute. I do want to reiterate that at the heart of this, debate / discussion is really about who can best represent Council District 48. So let's tie everything back into that. And Mariya, Markh, let's go to you. If you want to talk about this issue, you want to talk about your own issue, what what makes you the most passionate here.
There's a lot of issues I think that are incredibly important, whether it is the public safety, which absolutely 100%, we see a rise in hate crimes, whether it is with the Jewish community, the Asian community. We've been seeing that, unfortunately. We've even seen it with the Muslim community. Recently, there was a graffiti that was on a mosque in the district that was incredibly hateful. So that is an incredibly important conversation to have. And if that's going to be another question, I'm sure it'll come up in this debate, because this is something that's very, very key. But I think that there are other issues as well that are very important to talk about, whether it's education, which includes both the public and non-public education sector. We have to make sure that our children are going to be able to learn. They've just lost 2 years of school. They've lost all this time of in-person. I don't have to tell anybody here. I think we all have either kids or grandkids in some cases, that we know how hard that our communities, being parents, that's been. So that's something that's incredibly important. We want to make sure that every kid has an opportunity to have an education that's a very, very good one, whether that means expanding things like gifted and talented, whether that means making sure that all our schools are funded. But the other thing that I want to really talk about, and I'll make it very quick, is COVID recovery. I think COVID recovery is probably the most time sensitive. We're coming in a tail end of a pandemic. That means that we have to make sure that our resources are there. We may have to make sure our small businesses are going to be able to come back and come back stronger, rehire folks, which is very key. Our schools are going to be able to be safe for everybody to come back, and for the education to be there, and make sure that our healthcare system is going to be able to bounce back, and that people are going to be able to have those resources, whether it's medical insurance or similar programs, so that they can get the care that they need, whether it's because of COVID or long haul COVID or any other pre-existing conditions.
Thank you, Binyomin. Let's go over to you to talk about your number one issue of concern and what would make you the best person if elected to fix it.
Thank you, Sky. So my main issue is safety. Right now, we've seen over the last year, hate crimes have gone up about 70.5%, according to CompStat. And we're also looking at, when I talk about hate crimes, I mean specifically anti-Jewish hate crimes, anti-Catholic hate crimes, anti-Muslim hate crimes. As Mariya also said, right, there was graffiti on a mosque. There was also graffiti and attack on a church as well. And of course, anti-Asian attacks as well, which all of these are especially heinous, and it's just part of an atmosphere right now, which we need to stop. And one of the ways to do that is really to fund our police, allow the police to have the resources that they need to ensure that law and order is restored. It was a very good thing, and I thank the mayor on this forum for allowing the police to come down to Jewish neighborhoods, especially over the weekend, and increase their presence here. And I'd like to see a lot more of that. It's very important to do that on a permanent level, not just on a weekend-based level. And in order to do that, we need funding. And I just also want to talk about education for a second. It's very important to ensure that everybody, all children, have full access to any programs, especially special ed, for example, that allows them to achieve their fullest potential. And what I feel makes me most qualified is I'm a litigating attorney. I've been doing this for a number of years. I understand how, first of all, how laws are created, how laws can be read differently in order to help our cause, especially for our district. And it also taught me the tools to properly negotiate, properly represent myself and represent the district in order to get as much as we need. And obviously, you know, I don't want to take this out of my toolbox, but, you know, we're also geared to fight a little bit, you know, as litigators. But obviously, what's most important is getting along and ensuring that we can negotiate properly on behalf of our people.
Awesome. And Stephen, let's go to you.
So yeah, let's talk about public safety, right? We talked about that in the beginning. People have to feel safe, right? Public safety is the proven driver of economic success. There's a reason why the PBA, the detectives, the captains, lieutenants, they endorse me because of my track record. When I met with them, they evaluate all the candidates and they think that they know that I'm going to be the best one to advocate, to speak up. And I have a track record of that advocacy. We see what's going on. There's high rates of anti-Semitism, anti-Asian. We have such a diverse district, Pakistani, Asian. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're protecting everybody and making sure that since we are diverse, that we're getting along, and we have to come together right now. We are so divided right now, whether it's along political lines, what's happening across the pond. Right now, we have to take it back, and it starts with our children, right? As an educator, we have to instill the values into them that our grandparents and our parents instilled in us. When they came to this country, they fought for freedom. They escaped socialist countries to come here and give us the values. Hard work every day that they would go to work every day to provide for us. And it is our duty to do the same thing, to pay respect to our seniors and give those same lessons to our children. And that's what I do every single day in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Heshi, we can go to you, but you got to keep it short and promise. You're on mute still. Here we go.
Is he on mute, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Number one, how are you? Again, and I'll be keeping it short and sweet. First of all, on public safety, I am part of volunteer groups. We have the Shoimim and Shmira groups, which my competitors do not work with. I do work with them. And we do patrol the streets. And if hate crimes are not only based on the synagogues and the schools, which I've been part of my community since June when I've opened the parks to protect my children. I have a special ed teacher in my own office that we make sure, that's why Stephen's such a good kid, because he helps these special kids, and I respect him for that. And I love special needs kids because I've been working with them since I'm a young man. When my mother died, she was a single mother with my Down syndrome sister. I've been very involved with special needs children and raising money. I have raised thousands of dollars on safety issues. Not only do I make sure that my streets are safe, I work with all the communities all over the city. So it's not something new that I'm coming up with. Not being a litigator, that's the problem with my competitors. They want to litigate. They want to make new legislation. Why aren't we going over the old crazy rules that Mayor de Blasio instructed on us? You know what I mean? I am a 57-year-old man, father, grandfather. I don't need somebody telling me what to do, locking us up all the time. My schools have been open since the summer. My synagogues are open. When I was arrested because of the Kornbluth fake arrest, the cops called me with 40-person Zoom call with the commissioner on the call telling me we're closing all the synagogues and churches. And I said, oh no, man. You're not closing not even one of them. And you know what? I made a deal with the police. When the police have problems, you're right, I wasn't endorsed by them because I'm a wild card. I'm coming to the end. Who do you think the police call when there's trouble in the community? Me to come to the kids, me to come break up the protests, me to come help them. Why? Because I'm the man of the street. I'm the man who cares about the people. I'm in the street and I have constituent services in my office every day, and I'm going to make this city better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to this group. Now I want to give everyone the opportunity to ask someone else a question. And this helps let voters know more about you and get a better feel for who you are, because you talked about fighting, you talked about getting along. voters like to hear that side of your personality and see who gets along with who. That's what voters like to hear. I'm just saying it because I see it from the questions that come in. So let's go in a different order. Binyomin, you want to ask the first question of one of your colleagues here?
Yeah, I would like to talk to Steve. First of all, it's good to see you again. We just met the other day.
It was great
I was
seeing you,
just,
Steve.
yeah. So I was just wondering regarding the police. You said you got endorsed by the PBA. There are many of us out here that are also working, together with the police. What makes you stand out besides for let's say some people in the PBA believing that you should get the endorsement? What makes you believe that you stand out over everybody else?
Well, it's Ben, great question. It was great to see you at that event, and I hope to see you at many more events soon. Look, there was a questionnaire that we all had to fill out where we had to go on the record how we felt about these disastrous laws that were passed by some of the politicians representing our neighborhoods. And I'm represented by the people, not the politicians. And that's why they saw me as the best person, because I'm not tied into the establishment, the status quo. I'm a breath of fresh air. And that's what they saw in me. They know that I'm going to advocate for public safety against the craziness. Right now, people are afraid to go into the subway. People are afraid to go out at night. People are going to dinner in Brooklyn, and there's gunshots and stray bullets. I mean, there's a story every single day. So we have to reassess it. Mental health has a lot to do with it, right? So we're pouring billions of dollars into these programs, and we're not seeing the same results. So that's why they endorse me, because they know that I'm someone that's going to come in with fresh ideas, and that's going to advocate and bring our city back. And New York, we're resilient. Brooklynites are resilient, and I can't wait to do that on the council and work with my colleagues to get that done. So thank you for the question, Ben.
So Stephen, now you ask one of your colleagues a question.
I'll go right back to I didn't, what's a good, you have a panel, Ben, how are you? So Ben, talk about, you said you have a special needs child. One thing that I notice when I'm working with families is sometimes they don't always get the services, and something that you're really passionate about is making sure that our kids, get their special education services. So on the city council, what's something that you would do to make sure that our special needs students really get that attention that they deserve?
So great question, Steve. And that's obviously as very important. As you're a special ed teacher, you understand, how important it is for children to get the services that they need. So I can only speak from my experience mostly. My son, he had an issue with the IEP and IESP classifications. IEP and ISP for most of those who don't know, I didn't know that until a few months ago, until about a year ago, is basically different classifications for children who are deemed that need special education, whether they get specialized schooling in a certain location or whether they can also get it in a privatized location. So my son, after talking with the people at the DOE, my son got the wrong classification. And we had to fight that for a very long time. Not only that, he wasn't approved for P3 services, SETS services, which was also something that he really needed, according to his child psychologist, as well as another therapist that we're working with as well. So it was a big fight. We had to hire an advocate. I don't know if I should say her name on the program, but we hired an advocate. She was really good, and she really helped us get the programs. But at the same time, we had to get him into school 2 weeks late because of all this. The school, because he had some sensory issues, which means that he got really frustrated sometimes really quickly, and he'd turn around and hit a kid. So we had to make sure that, the school was like, look, we'd love to have your kid, but he needs certain services set up. So what I would like to do is expand. Yes, Guy, I would just like to make sure that we expand those services, make it easier for parents to get those services, so that our children, my son right now is doing really well, thankfully. I'd love to see other children in the same position.
Amen, Ben.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Mariya, Markh, would you like to ask a question to one of your colleagues here?
Well, it's a I think it's always difficult to try to figure out a good question. And I think part of that is because generally there's been a lot of respect in this race. I know that that's not always the case. You know, there have been things that have happened, you know, good things, not just bad things, but good things and bad things that have happened in, you know, people's lives, a lot of the candidates' lives. You know, I always try to be very respectful, and if there is a personal issue, I always love to, you know, give a call. I know that that Binyomin recently had another child, so there was a great cause for celebration for that particular reason. And unfortunately, you know, we've had
Mazel
a
tov.
candidate. Yes,
Mazel.
a candidate who,
Yes.
you know, is no longer a candidate because of health issues and things like that. So it's a very interesting, you know, I guess if I had to ask a question, I know that there are some candidates that have a track record of living in this district, of being involved in this district. For the folks that maybe don't live in the district, what are the plans for getting into the district? And also for what kind of things have you done in the district itself?
Who doesn't live in District 48?
And Heshi, I know you said that you had a place here, but you told me you didn't live here.
I
Yes,
learned,
Maria, I have, can you hear me?
yes.
Yes, we have a place in Borough Park. We have a place upstate as well. We just got rid of it. Linda didn't like it. And we've had, my wife grew up, born in Sheepshead Bay. We've been part of the Sheepshead Bay district for the last, I can't tell you how old Linda is, she'll kill me, but it's well over 50 years that we've had a home, and Linda has lived and grew up in Sheepshead Bay area. And I've been part of those homes, helping the residents of Sheepshead Bay, Brighton Beach. I've helped people all over the town, but I've mainly concentrated the last 12 years just in my business alone, helping people with their homes and so on, and helping people with homeless issues. And Maria, and I like you, Maria, really. And I know you're a mother of a young girl, and I know it's hard being a parent. I myself have special needs. You see, I like Ben, but he speaks too high. He doesn't speak to the people. I have a special needs sister that I've been taking care of for 51 years, one of the oldest people. Matter of fact, she prays for me every day. And Sky, you're gonna like this because she thinks I'm going to hell because she prays for me. But she is 51, takes care of her, has her own apartment. I know special needs. But my point of living in the district is I know the district. I'm answering her question. I know the district. I know the issues of the district. I know what the people need from the senior citizens, from the homeless issue. We have 80,000 people homeless, 20,000 children. Do you walk the streets and see, do you see the 1 minute, do you see the homeless people? I feed them. I take them in. I pick them up. Yes, I'm the one who has an idea how to.
Sorry.
I want everybody's views in. I'm sorry.
Everyone's views.
Yeah.
Ben,
So-
did you want to address the district question? I learned on another debate that you don't even have to live in the district until like the day before the election. It's some weird law.
Well, that's true, but I'd first like to say that the district lines are arbitrary. I mean, I just want to say I pray in the district, I shop in the district, I conduct business in the district. I mean, I do everything in the district, really. I pretty much, my whole life centers around the district, and it's not like I'm living on the Upper West Side and I'm running in this district. I mean, we're right there. My whole life is conducted here. And, you know, what really matters here is our values aligning with the district. And my values align with the district 100%. I mean, our issues are the same: supporting police, fully supporting police and allocating resources on their behalf to keep us safe. 2, supporting greater access to children for programs. You know, like I've been saying before, you know, these are things that mean a lot to me, mean a lot to people in the district. And of course, lowering our taxes to revitalize our economy, working with businesses to make sure that they can hire more people, incentivizing them to hire people. You know, I know that they have like, there are cash crunches. They work on very low margins. We have to work that out, and for sure, helping out our aging population as well. So these are the issues. I'm with you guys.
Thank you. Now, Amber, do you have a question for one of your colleagues here?
Wow, this is rough. I'm sitting, I'm listening. I actually like the question Mariya just asked. That was a good question. Yeah, I have two questions. I'm debating which way I want to go here. I'll be nice. So I'm going to ask Mariya a question in the spirit of women running for office. And I want to ask this. I want to ask what, how should I say? I'm trying to word it nicely, very nicely. When I am elected, what issue would you like to work on with me that you care very much about? And you know that I care very much about.
So there are a lot of issues that are important. I know that we had worked together briefly, a little bit for something a few before the pandemic. So it was pre-pandemic. I think one of the issues that I would love to work with any of the candidates when I get elected, but I would probably think one of the topics that you've been interested in that I think is important is bringing resources into the district. I know that there's a lot of different kind of budget issues and things like that. I've worked on budgets. I've in the city council. I've worked on legislation in the city council. So something that's centered around that.
Okay, great. Now, Steve, do you have a serious question? Because sometimes Steve
Yes,
chimes in with an extremely serious
I used to
question.
work in Sheepshead Bay for a long time for Bay News. And I was there recently. While things are going really good on Emmons Avenue, the two things I noticed, there's a lot of shops closed in Sheepshead Bay now. I think they suffered from the pandemic. Additionally, it seems like there's a lot of development. I don't know whether those apartments have been rented out. I'd just like to know how you plan as city council person to manage Sheepshead Bay, and what would be the 2 or 3 things you would look to do or not
What
do?
will-
Party votes. Yeah, I'm
But we'll
sure.
do 90 seconds on that. And you want to pick someone, Steve?
Let's start with Mariya.
I think it's because of my background. So Sheepshead Bay is, this area is somewhere not only that I live, but I know very, very well. One of the other issues, not only pandemic, and of course the pandemic had a lot to do with this, but also one of the other issues that we've noticed over there is the fact that people can't afford the rents. So when it comes to a lot of these businesses, they had to close down shop because they couldn't afford to stay there anymore. And so that is a big, big problem. We have to be able to make sure that all of our businesses have funding streams, but also there are wonderful programs that provide free legal when it comes to things like lease negotiations between the businesses and their landlords. So that's something that we have to make sure that we can do. The other thing is that it's always important to make sure that all of our businesses, and in Sheepshead Bay and other commercial strips in our area, a lot of those businesses are small businesses that are immigrant owned. So it's important that we can get them the resources that they need when it comes to just the education of what they need. One of the biggest problems that we've seen, unfortunately, in our district, we were hit with a red zone and a yellow zone and an orange zone. So a lot of the businesses got hit with violations. And so on top of everything else, and on top of having to be closed multiple times because they were in these zones, they then got hit with violations. So we have to work to make sure that those violations are something that are warnings. And a lot of the violations that are available for small businesses tend to be these minor things. The sign is in the wrong place, something like that. We have to make sure that those things are warned. Okay, sorry.
No, good. Let's continue this topic of small business revitalization. Let's go to Stephen Saperstein next.
So yeah, I'll be super specific with this answer. Let's create a what's called a single city permit, and this has been championed. Right now, there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape. So you have to get to open up a business. You have to file applications, undergo reviews, get inspections, licenses from all these different agencies that, by the way, are cracking down on our businesses. So let's streamline the process. We can use our smartphone. within a month, you have approval from the city and you can operate. And I think that a lot of our business owners would agree with that, because right now, if you just drive up, any of our streets, not just in Sheepshead Bay, but you drive up Nostrand Avenue, we have a lot of storefronts that are closed. I was eating in a local restaurant in Brighton Beach, and the best. It was an amazing experience, and she was saying that she's losing money every day, but the fact that she's providing jobs for people is why she's staying in business. And she's saying enough is enough. And she, if this continues, she's going to have to close down. So let's do that. And I know there was stimulus money coming in, so let's try to find and make it, reach out to our local businesses and make it easier for them to apply for it, because sometimes government is not so friendly. So we need to make it accessible, do direct outreach, go directly to the business owner, say, hey, this is how you apply, rather than just posting up a link on a website and expecting them to go check it out. We should bring government to the people in this situation, to these business owners, and make it as friendly as possible. And I think that we'll be okay here. So that's my long-winded answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Amber next.
Oh, just taking that off mute. I hear everything everyone's saying, but I want to sort of pull out a couple more points specifically about that area of Sheepshead Bay, Evans Avenue. There's a lot of things that sort of went out, different sort of flea market type things, other, we'll say jubilees that bring people to the area. And I think bringing those back, dealing with the drag racing also, by the way, that goes on in the evening hours many times, and bringing in more community events to the area, I think that will get people back out. I know so many people right now are even just ready to go out. They're just waiting, for the summer so they can have their summer in the city, as many people I know are. So in addition to the items other people mentioned, I just want to point out those specific type things to bring more people in, because when you're having these types of events, community, flea markets and bake sales and all the things that people have at their different organizations, it puts people in the area. They stop for lunch. They stay on a little bit later. They stroll down, by the water, which is right behind Mariya, apparently. And, and that's community. That's stimulating business.
Thank you. Let's go over to Ben.
Hey. So right now, one of the main issues affecting businesses is the rent. As I said before, a lot of businesses are operating on razor-thin margins, especially restaurants. And the problem is that during the pandemic, unfortunately, I've actually been involved in some of these cases in which we try to get commercial tenants out of leases. And unfortunately, COVID is not a way to get out of a lot of leases. And that means that rent monthly was accruing. And what the government did was impose a moratorium, which just means that they don't have to pay now. But the bill comes due later. And the issue is that when you have a bill that's due later and you're closed for 10, 11 months, or mostly closed, you have no way to pay that. And the bill is ballooning, and the landlord is not really keen on waiving all those months of rent. One of the ways to work with that is to incentivize the landlord and also work with the small businesses to give tax credits, maybe to the landlord to possibly waive, or to come out with a better payment plan so that the business can stay open, so that the business can also still hire more people. They have more money in their pocket to hire people, as well as tax incentives to obviously keep people hired. And that's one very important aspect. We have to keep the businesses that are already here going. It's not about necessarily opening new businesses. And Steve, very good idea about the single permit, but we also have to make sure that we keep the businesses that are already here alive. And another thing is also a helpline. And just one last thing, a dedicated person to make sure that we can help navigate each business through the maze of bureaucracy.
Thank you. And now, Heshi, what would you do with these small businesses?
Well, First of all, I didn't get to ask a question to my competitor, but this is my expertise, and I like my competitors, but they have no knowledge and no experience. This is what I do. There are 14 government agencies that constantly give us red tape. Having one permit, Steve, which I like you, is not going to work. You have so many insurances, so much paperwork, so much licensing. I wish the idea would work. I have to fight the city every day. This is what I do. And I'm going to be a city councilman that, first of all, will wipe out all the fines of all the violations issued. I've kept our restaurants open. I've worked, not like my dear friend Binyomin over there, I've worked with landlords and with tenants to keep them and negotiate the new breakdown. That means help them fight their what the monies they owe, not wait till the last minute and go to court. Having an empty store for a landlord is not good to evict them. Ben knows, as a lawyer, all he can do is evict or not evict. I help people negotiate and stay in their stores. I've helped restaurants stay open. As you can see from my videos, I chase the DOB. I fight the violations. I go to court for them. And what we need to do is, first thing, support our local businesses. Teach our community to go buy and shop within our community. And that's again what I've been doing. That's why all my stores are open. Yes, the stores that I've helped in Sheepshead Bay, Manhattan Beach, the halls, the wedding halls, the stores, all of the places that I've been involved with, the restaurants that have called me. And I'm telling you, this is what I've been doing. This is my expertise. And the first thing I do when I become city councilman, which I'm going to win, I get to finish one last sentence. When I become city councilman, I will defund these 14 agencies, and reorganize them and save $2.2 billion on the budget, which I do else. $2.2 billion, the first minute.
Thank you. Oops, he went in and out. Okay. Ben, did you want to respond since he called you out? So you get 30 seconds to respond.
I mean, okay, I guess. I mean, lawyers don't just evict and not evict. I don't know how else to respond to that. I mean, we negotiate with people. As I said before, I was actually on the side of the tenants trying to break a lot of the leases. Some we were successful, some we were not, unfortunately. But okay, that's really all I need to respond to. But thank you for the opportunity.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, we just have a few minutes left, so everyone's long-winded, which is fine. You know, we'll just give this time to conclude to everyone. And I will also ask you to name your superpower as you think of how you want to conclude and leave voters with your final thoughts of who you are and what you represent. Think of your superpower that you want to put out there. And let's begin with Stephen.
Okay.
Oh, you want to begin with Heshi?
Yeah, we might as well get it kind of, you know. And then
Okay, fine.
So am I starting?
No.
Who?
You said Heshi.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Go to Stephen. So what's your superpower in a 1-minute concluding statement, Heshi?
I am Batman, not Superman. I'm the Batman who comes out at night, whose phone is on 24 hours, who works 18-hour days, and I'm gonna make changes. I'm part of the people. I don't overtalk them. I don't use the fancy words. I go in the street. I'm the guy who stands there with his hands in the dirt, who takes the men out of jail, who helps people get a second chance, who fights drugs constantly, who cries with the children, who stand against making stupid de Blasio homeless shelters. And Mariya, Markh, we're gonna have to talk about that. I'm not happy about that. I have an idea how to solve the homeless issue by creating senior adult housing. I will be available for my constituents 24 hours a day. I have 2 hours constituent services. I'm not even elected official.
First, so we gotta, you know, thank you.
Anyways, I'm Batman, and I'm hoping Stephen becomes Robin.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, your turn.
So I would say, thank you for that, Hesh. I would say that my superpower is likability. You know, my message resonates. Just look at my filing. I outraised everyone in the race. Almost 600 people donated from the district. You know, I don't know any voter who's going to donate to someone they don't like. Just look at my endorsements: the UFT, PBA, DEA, captains, lieutenants, firefighters, firefighter officers, sanitations, communication workers of America, on and on. The reason why I have this overwhelming support is because of my likability, and I have a message that resonates. people over the politics. And they know that when I'm on the city council, I will have their best interests at heart, not with the politicians, but with the everyday person in the district. I'm born and raised here. I know every single corner of this district. I went to schools here. And I want to say that this has been great, Steve and Sky, and thank you so much for having me. I wish we could have done this in person, but that's my message. So thank you again, everybody.
Thank you. Let's go to Amber Adler next.
Wow. Okay. So my superpower, this is so funny. You always have the fun stuff. I want to say unity. I want to say uniting people. That really is a superpower nowadays, you know. A vote for me is a vote for measurable results, because I'm not a person that just wants to talk and wish they're going to do something. I'm a person that makes things happen. And that's important. That's what we need right now. And that's what I am. I know how important it is to get things done in a time-sensitive manner. That's another big thing that sets me apart from many people, because I've seen the struggle. I've been in the struggle. I understand what it means to need resources and a variety of resources. I understand what it means to need childcare. And that's why I want to push childcare as an educational, as an economic stimulus, because all of these things are so important, all of these pieces of the puzzle. And unity, like I said, the superpower, that's what we need in this district. We all have to work together. We all have to focus on the common denominators, and we have to build this district. As we have done some in the past, we need to step it up. And I'm here to do that. I can do that. And that's going to help us across the board elevate the quality of life here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's go to Binyomin next.
My superpower would be super hearing. I want to make sure that my constituents always know that they can talk to me and that they'll have a listening ear. I'm always going to listen and fully understand what they're saying, not just one ear out the other. It's just fully listening and understanding them, and then bringing their concerns up to the city council and really pushing for our communities or for our district entirely.
Thank you. And now Mariya Markh.
First and foremost, thank you everybody for today, to Sky and to Steve, but also for everybody else, all of my competition. This was a very interesting debate, and I really enjoyed it. My superpower is probably to be able to get resources and things done in the district. So I've gotten over 500,000 masks and testing sites during COVID, pre-COVID, making sure that hundreds of families stay in their homes, from lien sale, making sure that our seniors are able to get SNAP benefits and rent freezes, property tax exemptions, making sure that children are able to get educated and to get into schools. So making sure that all of these resources are available is definitely something that I would say is my superpower. I've helped a lot of businesses, both before and after, or before and during COVID. And I've brought like business education days to a number of commercial corridors, things like that. So bringing those resources, bringing that information, making sure things work and that government works for the people.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a lively debate, District 48. On behalf of Schneps Media and PoliticsNY, we are the only media outlet providing a platform for every single candidate to have their faces seen, voices heard, and personalities on display. Because voters like to get to know people. Voters relate to people. So they vote for people who they can relate to. So thank you so much. Thank you to Brooklyn Public Library for being part of this, and good luck to candidates.
Everybody.
Thank you. And see you next time. Visit our website, submit us your op-eds, tag us in social media, and we'll see you out there. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.